Ever notice how the most successful people in the world seem to have one thing in common? They don't just wake up, they own their mornings. I used to hit snooze 5 times before dragging myself out of bed, feeling like I was already behind before my day even started. Sound familiar? What if I told you that the first 60 minutes after you wake up could completely transform your productivity, your mood, and even your life? Stay with me for the next few minutes. I'm about to share the morning routine secrets that took me from perpetually exhausted to accomplishing more by 9 a.m. than I used to get done in an entire day. The truth is, your morning routine isn't just about drinking coffee and checking emails. It's the foundation that determines whether you'll be reactive or proactive with the precious 24 hours you've been given. I remember the exact moment I hit rock bottom with my mornings. I was rushing to an important meeting, spilled coffee all over my shirt, forgot my presentation notes, and arrived 15 minutes late, sweating and flustered. My boss pulled me aside afterward and said something I'll never forget. Your mornings are a reflection of how you approach life. That wake-up call changed everything for me. After researching the habits of CEOs, athletes, and high performers, I discovered that a strategic morning routine isn't a luxury. It's the secret weapon of the ultra-productive. And today, I'm sharing exactly how you can create one that works for you. Before we dive in, I want you to think about your current morning routine. Does it energize you or drain you? Does it set you up for success or stress? Drop a comment below with your biggest morning struggle. I bet you're not alone. Let's start with the foundation of any productive morning. It actually begins the night before. The most successful people I've studied don't just improvise their mornings. They design them intentionally, starting with the previous evening. Think about it. Have you ever tried to have a smooth, productive morning after staying up until 2 a.m. scrolling through social media? It's practically impossible. Your morning routine's success is directly proportional to your evening routine's discipline. Here's what the evening prep looks like. First, decide on your MIT, most important task, for tomorrow. Just one thing that, if accomplished, would make the day successful. Write it down where you'll see it first thing. Next, prepare everything you'll need. Clothes laid out, coffee maker prepped, lunch packed, keys and essentials by the door. This simple 10-minute evening routine eliminates dozens of micro decisions that drain your morning willpower. Finally, implement a digital sunset. Put screens away at least 1 hour before bed. The blue light from devices suppresses melatonin, making it harder to fall asleep and wake up refreshed. I replaced my nighttime scrolling with reading actual books, and my sleep quality improved dramatically. Now, let's talk about the moment of truth. The alarm goes off. What's your immediate reaction? If it's reaching for your phone to check emails or social media, you're immediately putting yourself in a reactive state, responding to others' priorities rather than focusing on your own. Instead, try this game-changing approach. When your alarm sounds, count 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 and immediately get out of bed. No negotiations with yourself. No, just 5 more minutes. This technique, popularized by Mel Robbins, short-circuits the brain's natural resistance and builds momentum from the very first minute. Once you're up, drink a full glass of water before anything else. After 7, 8 hours without hydration, your body and brain are desperate for water. This simple habit jumpstarts your metabolism, flushes toxins, and improves cognitive function before you've even brushed your teeth. Now, here's where many morning routines fail: trying to do too much. You don't need a 3-hour ritual like some Silicon Valley CEO. The most effective routines focus on quality over quantity, specifically targeting 3 key areas: mind, body, and purpose. For your mind, dedicate just 10 minutes to meditation or mindfulness. I was skeptical until I tried it myself, Now I can't imagine starting my day without it. It's like clearing the cache in your brain before loading new information. For your body, movement is non-negotiable. But here's the secret. It doesn't have to be an intense workout. Even 7 minutes of high-intensity interval training or a quick yoga flow can flood your system with endorphins and boost your energy for hours. For purpose, spend 5 minutes reviewing your goals and MIT for the day. This isn't just about productivity, it's about intentionality. When you connect your daily tasks to your larger purpose, motivation follows naturally. Let me share a personal example of how powerful this can be. When I started my first ever YouTube channel, I was still working a full-time job. The only time I had for content creation was early morning. By implementing this routine with determination and dedication, I was able to create consistent content that grew my audience while still excelling at my day job. The key was my morning power hour. 20 minutes of exercise, 20 minutes of content planning, and 20 minutes of actual creation. Within 6 months, my channel had grown enough that I could transition to creating content full-time, all because I reclaimed my mornings. Now, I know what you're thinking, but I'm not a morning person. I hear this all the time, and here's my response. Morning personhood isn't genetic, it's habitual. Your body can adapt to almost any schedule if you're consistent. The transition might be uncomfortable at first, but start by waking up just 15 minutes earlier each week until you reach your ideal wake-up time. Your circadian rhythm will gradually adjust, especially if you maintain the same schedule on weekends. Another game changer, sunlight exposure within the first hour of waking. This signals to your brain that it's daytime, regulating your internal clock and boosting alertness. I take my coffee outside for 10 minutes each morning, and it makes a remarkable difference in my energy levels. Speaking of coffee, let's talk about the most common morning mistake: having caffeine immediately after waking. Your body naturally produces cortisol, a wakefulness hormone, for the first 90 minutes after you wake up. Adding caffeine during this cortisol peak creates diminishing returns and faster tolerance buildup. Instead, delay your first cup of coffee until 90 minutes after waking. You'll need less caffeine for the same effect, and you'll avoid the mid-morning crash that sends so many people reaching for a second or third cup. Now, let's address the elephant in the room: technology. Most productivity experts will tell you to avoid your phone completely in the morning, and while that's ideal, it's not always realistic in today's connected world. Here's my compromise. Use technology on your terms. If you must check your phone, do it after completing your mind-body-purpose routine, and be specific about what you're checking. No mindless scrolling, just intentional information gathering. I use a technique called batch processing for emails and messages. Rather than responding to each notification as it comes in, I designate specific times to process communications in batches. This preserves my morning focus while still keeping me responsive. One morning habit that's transformed my productivity is what I call the 2-minute rule. If a task takes less than 2 minutes, making the bed, washing a dish, sending a quick email, do it immediately. These small wins create momentum and clear mental space for bigger challenges. But perhaps the most underrated morning practice is gratitude. Before diving into your to-do list, take 60 seconds to write down 3 things you're grateful for. This isn't just feel-good advice. Research shows gratitude activates your brain's reward system, reduces stress hormones, and improves your problem-solving abilities. I keep a small notebook by my bed specifically for this purpose. Some mornings I write about big things like health or relationships. Other days, it's as simple as being grateful for the perfect cup of coffee. The specificity doesn't matter. The practice does. Now let's talk about breakfast. The meal that literally breaks your fast. The science is clear. What you eat in the morning affects your cognitive performance, energy levels, and even your decision-making abilities throughout the day. Skip the sugary cereals and pastries that spike your blood sugar and lead to mid-morning crashes. Instead, opt for a balanced meal with protein, healthy fats, and complex carbohydrates. My go-to is eggs with avocado and a side of berries. It takes 5 minutes to prepare and keeps me full and focused for hours. If you're practicing intermittent fasting or simply don't feel hungry in the morning, that's fine too. The key is making a conscious choice rather than grabbing whatever's convenient when hunger eventually strikes. Another productivity hack: use morning batching for similar tasks. Our brains operate most efficiently when we group related activities. I reserve mornings for deep work, tasks requiring focused concentration, because willpower and attention are resources that deplete throughout the day. By the way, have you noticed how we haven't mentioned checking social media or news? There's a reason for that. Information consumption is best saved for later in the day when your most important work is already done. Starting your day with others' opinions and curated highlight reels is a recipe for distraction and comparison. Instead, protect your first hour like it's sacred. Because it is. It's the only part of your day that's truly yours, before the demands of work, family, and the world come flooding in. Now, I know what some of you are thinking. This all sounds great, but I have kids, pets, and lots of other responsibilities that make a calm morning impossible. I hear you, and this is where flexibility comes in. Your productive morning might look different from mine, and that's okay. If you have young children, perhaps your mindfulness practice happens while they're still asleep, or maybe your exercise includes them. The principles remain the same, even if the execution varies. Remember, the goal isn't morning perfection, it's morning intention. Even implementing one or two of these practices can dramatically shift your productivity and well-being. Let me share a technique that's been particularly helpful for parents and caregivers: the morning margin. Instead of scheduling every minute, build in buffer time, at least 15-30 minutes more than you think you need. This simple adjustment transforms rushing into breathing room. Another tip: create a morning area in your home with everything you need for your routine. Mine includes my journal, meditation cushion, and exercise mat, visual cues that trigger my routine without requiring decision-making. As we wrap up, I want to emphasize that your morning routine isn't set in stone. It should evolve as your life circumstances change. What works during summer might need adjustment in winter. What serves you in one career phase might shift in another. The constant should be your commitment to beginning each day with intention rather than reaction. When you control your mornings, you set the tone for everything that follows. I'd love to know, which of these morning strategies resonated most with you? What's one small change you could implement tomorrow? Share your thoughts in the comments. Your insight might be exactly what another viewer needs to hear. If you found this helpful, consider subscribing for more productivity strategies and practical tips for living with greater intention. And remember, the way you start your day isn't just about being productive. It's about creating a life where productivity serves your deeper purpose. Tomorrow morning, when your alarm goes off, you have a choice. Will you default to old patterns, or will you take the first step toward owning your day? The decision might seem small, but the impact is anything but. Your future self is counting on you to make the right call. Here's to mornings that fuel your potential rather than drain it. I'll see you in the next video.